Hello and welcome back everyone to Tiny House Big Dreams. I'm well and truly been stuck into doing the stairs. They've actually got one more coat to do, but they won't look much different than they do now, except for the fact that I've got a gloss on there. It's going to be a satin. But let me walk you through how I've actually built this. One of the things I want to point out is the fact that most of this was in my brain when I decided to build this. Which was probably a good lesson for me because really I needed to have planned it. There were so many little things that popped up and it took too long for workarounds. So I really need to get my head out of my you-know-what and get something planned so that the next time it goes a lot more smoothly. Although, you gotta admit, it looks really, really nice. It's super, super strong. Apart from having this in my head, one thing that I did do is I took the measurements of how long and how high and how many steps I wanted to figure out my riser and tread depth, which is pretty easy. If you don't know how to do that, just Google it. There's all kinds of calculators that will calculate how many steps and it'll give you exactly the riser and the width or the depth of the tread. Okay, I'm just about to show you how I go about putting a finish on all the raw woodwork on these stairs. But first, before I do that, I just want to talk real quick about the stuff that I use because I get a lot of questions on what gear do I use, and over the years I've had, I don't know how umpteen calls for what I use. It's not that I don't want to tell you, it's just I've just never gotten around to it. So very briefly, I'm going to show you. And one of the first things I learned was, one of the things, you hear the radio? Let's turn the radio off. It's one of the first things you do. Listen closely. There's an air conditioner on. And you learn stuff about air conditioning, TVs that make noise, refrigerators that make noise. It all has to be either turned off or you have to deal with that in post. And sometimes you can't save that. So turn off the air conditioner. And now everything's nice and quiet. All we have is basically the noise that every room makes. Now the camera that I use in a situation like this is the Panosonic Lumix GH5. I really like this camera. It's not very good on automatic focus. It's getting better. The form factor is really, really good on it. It's just, everything is so compact and tight. You'll notice that on the top of the camera is a little is an instrument that just actually captures good audio, so that I can actually install my lavalier receiver onto it, which I've got the transmitter in my pocket. Now this is a Sennheiser. It's a really good setup. They're very expensive. So look, and you can probably see the light that I've got there. Other than that, that's all I use. Obviously, it's on a tripod. I move the tripod around, I change the lenses. So let's get stuck back in to what we're really here for, and that's to put a finish on this raw timber. Before I do get started, there's a couple of things I'll just run past you. Number one, and it really is just common sense, this one, is you put something on the floor. I've got a drop cloth here. I won't get any on the floor, but look, for DIYs, put something, cover your floors and protect your floors. The other thing is, you're going to want to use tape. I won't use any tape on this, but I'm going to show you how you're going to use your tape, and you can get two different kinds. But a lot of you will probably be using the blue tape, and it's more expensive, but the reason is that it's got less paint creep. So when you splash on over that, you get less paint creeping in behind it. So when I'm doing things, when you're doing things like these little bits here, when you're actually applying the clear on these little bits and pieces here, you don't want to get it on the actual carcass. You want to keep that nice and neat. It's brand new. Why get paint all over it? The other thing is normally I would put a special single pack over this, which dries probably 5 times harder than this will ever dry. But it's very expensive, and you have to have special thinners to actually clean it and maybe thin it. Other than that, you need that thinners to wash your brush, or you throw the brush out. So I thought in this case, I'm not going to do that. When it starts to wear, I'm just going to give it a good sand and give it another coat. Now this is a gloss finish. I'll put 2 or 3 gloss coats on this, and I'll finish it off with a satin, because I don't like the real glossy shine on there. And if you like the glossy shine, then by all means keep that glossy shine. But that's what I'm going to do, and partly because I've already got this stuff. So let's quickly show you how I do the taping, and we'll get you nice and close here. When it comes to taping, take your time, get it as exact as you possibly can. So you would go around and just tape everything where you think you might have to be a little bit more careful. Myself, I'm professional, so I'm pretty good at cutting in, so I don't even need to do this. So you can see that by the time you've actually gone around this once, I've probably done this and a lot more already with the first coat of polyurethane. But be careful, just do it right. You'll want it to look really good when you're finished. Now I forgot, that's one place right along there at the bottom. If you can see that, is where I would probably put some tape, but I didn't do it, so a bit late. When I'm finishing off, I'm not going back at it because you'll leave, look, you can't see that. Now I've got some runs there. So just be real careful about that. And that's it. That probably took me about half an hour. So if you got something out of all that, great, fantastic. Let me know in the comments below if you got any questions. And if you like this video, please just by all means like it. That helps me grow the channel. As you can see, it needs help growing. And you can follow along our progress. Just subscribe, hit that bell so that you get notifications. And I hope to see you on my next video when I build and install the kitchen cabinets. It's not as hard as you think. I'm Rick Michelle. This is Tiny House, Big Dreams. Stay safe, everyone, and so long for now.